Good morning. Now, you may find this hard to believe, but my feet are made of clay. That's right. I'm not perfect. My books are filled with typos, and I'm I'm human. But anyway, couple of new things. This is, of course, the box to the newest edition of Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. I've talked to you just in the last few weeks about it and everything else. It's a new edition. It's got a couple of new things that distinguish it from the earlier editions, including this wonderful, beautiful tree of life with the tarot cards themselves projected quite cleanly on the paths. And something that I was very excited about, the on the inside of the box, we've got the dates associated with the court cards, or 12 of the court cards, and the small cards, which is always good for looking up people's birthdays and what cards might represent the person, a significator card. But just before it went to press, Charlie at Next Millennium said, "Now, are you sure that that chart that we're going to print on the inside is totally correct?" And bless his heart for asking. It was a great idea. It's always good to ask and double check. Well, I thought I double checked really well, okay? But there's a typo. As a matter of fact, it's a typo that makes two typos. And if you bought the newest edition, I'm going to show you how to repair that so that your chart works perfectly. If you'll notice that what used to be associated with April 11th through May 10th, it was misprinted as the Prince of Swords. Actually, that's the Prince of Discs. Okay, so, and that Four of Discs was misprinted, and that right under there, and that should be the Four of Wands. And I've sloppily repaired mine. And once that's fixed, this is absolutely perfect. So anyway, that's my confession, my errata sheet confession to you. And look, we are, this is going to be a pretty short little visit with you this morning. We are experiencing a pause in an atmospheric river that's blowing into Northern California off of the Pacific Ocean. And our backyard is already flooded, and we're panicking. And the levees, there's several levees here in the Costa, or I wish, the Sacramento area. And should they burst, there's a chance that big portions of Sacramento could be under 16 feet of water. And so we're having a sort of a panicky time, but so's a lot of people here in Sacramento. So I'm going to, usually on Tuesdays, Constance and I go shopping, but we had planned to do that tomorrow, and we'll still try to do that tomorrow. So today's little talk is not from a parking lot someplace. It's from an extremely stressful home of Lon and Constance. Anyway, I ran across something that I wrote for a Llewellyn blog. Llewellyn is one of my publishers, one of my bigger publishers. And they have a sort of an online magazine, and years ago they asked me if I'd contribute a little essay toward it, and I've probably have shared it with you in one form or another in the last 2 or 3 years, since however long we've been doing this. And it's just called Who's Your Muse? Who's Your Muse? It has this sort of lilt to it, doesn't it? And I called it a Baba blog for mystical writers from Lon Milo DuQuette, author of, and then I give my Llewellyn titles. So here's my words of wisdom from the mouth of chaos. I bet you've always felt special, haven't you? Be honest with yourself. I'd wager that even as a child, you were haunted by the uneasy feeling that you were different from everyone else around you. You probably felt, and still feel, profoundly alone. Alone with a host of naughty feelings, secret fears, disturbing dreams, curious passions, and desires that are uniquely yours and yours alone. Compared to everyone else, you might consider yourself quietly odd, different, perhaps even defective or incomplete. Nevertheless, even though all of us to one degree or another secretly believe ourselves to be profoundly and fundamentally flawed, we simultaneously believe we are the most special, most interesting, most fascinating person in the universe. The superstar of our own movie, the protagonist of our own novel, the most important actor in the great drama of existence. Am I right? Don't worry if your answer is yes. You're probably not too crazy, and you certainly aren't alone in your megalomania. Everyone feels that way, and for good reason, because it's true. Each of us is special. Each of us is defective. Each of us is supremely unique and important. In truth, each of us is the center of the universe, the perfect reflection and focus of the supreme consciousness that is the source and the expression of existence and being. Each of us is the perfect epicenter of the mind of God. Most of the world's population doesn't give this positioning a moment's thought, but for the writer, this is the best seat in the house. When a writer sits down to write, he or she seizes their birthright and consciously observes life from this central vantage point of consciousness, and then converts our observations into words. Once on paper, the words become nothing less than a written confession, the voice of our own self-awareness, however flawed and distorted it might be. As an artist, the writer speaks because he or she must. But who or what is the ear that hears? Who's the audience? If a tree falls in the woods and there's no one to hear it, does it make a sound? Theoretically, when we gain enlightenment or supreme enlightenment, we'll all realize that we are both the voice and the ear. But until that epiphany comes upon us, until the scintillating instant just before we sizzle blissfully into limitless Godhead, we will need to think of the writing process as if there were someone actually speaking the words and someone actually listening. Someone worshiping and someone being worshipped. Someone loving and adoring and someone being loved and adored. For the artist, for the writer, that someone is our muse. No one can define the muse for another person. The idea, at least in my mind, is akin to the concept of the highly personal spiritual being known to students of the Western mysteries as the Holy Guardian Angel. Whatever you choose to call it, the muse is the god or goddess we pray to, the lover we wish to move with our poetry or songs, the beloved who inspires us, and the target we need to inspire. The secret, therefore, to finding our muse lies in our ability to fall hopelessly in love. In fact, lovers, past, present, would-be, or fantasy, are already the perfect stand-ins for your muse. As you sit there writing your next masterpiece, you might think to yourself, I wonder if old, and then insert an old girlfriend or boyfriend's name. I wonder if old what's-her-name would think my book is funny, or wise, or inspiring, or irresistibly witty. The muse can be as real or as imaginary as you need it to be. Nothing is too corny when it comes to muses. And please, I'm going to repeat that. Nothing is too corny when it comes to muses. Don't be afraid to reach back in time to mushy adolescent moments. Re-wooing high school sweethearts, summer loves, or hunky firemen with your writer's wit and brilliance. Of course, this process is blushingly personal and painful and private. And it attaches itself uncomfortably to all manner of other sticky psychological issues that make of the complex and colorful uniqueness of you. As an example, if Mom or Dad were alive, I'd show them. But to tell the truth, finding your muse is not something you need to overthink. Your muse is with you right now. You need only whisper something truthful from your heart. And notice who listens. I told you it'd be a little brief today. As everything else in life, tomorrow is uncertain. So it's a big weather day forecasted, and Constance and I are still, at the moment, planning on going out shopping. So hopefully we'll see you in some way or another tomorrow. So until then, hold a good thought. Let this weather move over and give its moisture to the snow. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.